The Chicago Blackhawks fall to the Nashville Predators 4-3 at home on Black Friday in the black alternates. And I got to be honest, I'm pretty bummed. I did expect the Blackhawks to win this game heading into it. And I've tried to temper my expectations this entire season. I've tried to be a realist about this group, specifically for where they're at right now. I've been, obviously very outspoken about how bright I think the future is. But for right now, I've tried to temper expectations and keep them reasonable, but I did enter this game thinking that they should win. So quite disappointing the way the game unfolded. Before I really get into it, and I don't want to talk super specific about this tonight because I feel like there was so much discourse on stream tonight, so many big picture conversations, so many fans freaking out because I know the Blackhawks are on a 5-game skid, and this sucks. And it's reminiscent of last year in the way that you're losing games. You're losing games and you're stacking them on top of each other, and it sucks. But the reality is you look at these past few games, they're all so close. Like, they could all have gone the other way if you get a couple bounces. And I know what you're thinking, oh, you can't just bank on lucky bounces. You can't just... I mean, if you go back to the start of the season when the Blackhawks were picking up win after win and beating all these good teams and in close games, they were getting some of that. And now it's just that stretch of the season where they haven't been getting some of that puck luck. They haven't been, executing better than the other team when they do have, the bursts of momentum. Tonight it was the first period. It's like the first period tonight, the Blackhawks completely dominated the Nashville Predators. They started way faster than them. They showed up ready to go, and it felt like the ice was tilted towards UC Saros' net in that first period. But unfortunately, the Blackhawks were only able to score one to show for it. And given the double minor and the other power play that they had, you would have liked to come up with two in that period, to be honest with you. And the momentum completely shifted in the second. But I want to focus more on like the collective freaking out of Blackhawks fans right now. I think we got to stay the course. I think we have to remember what expectations were at the start of the year. It was to hopefully take a leap in the standings. It was to show improvement. It was all about progression and development, though. Like, at the start of the year, everyone thought this team was going to be another lottery team. They thought they were going to be at the bottom of the standings. And then, the Blackhawks started the year as well as they did. And Blackhawks fans got excited. They got hopeful, which they should have, because this is still the same team. They just haven't been getting the wins. But I know that the season started and there was, a month and a half there that the Blackhawks were in a wild card spot. And so people were, starting to get excited about potentially making the playoffs this year. I think we have to realize and remember, kind of what we thought this group was before the year. If you're watching these games and you're miserable and you're freaking out, like, take it easy on yourself. Take it easy on these guys. They weren't supposed to be in this position. So remember that. And also, when you're watching these games, like, we need to do, I want to do positive talk because there were many positives tonight. Yes, were there some questionable plays defensively? Were there some breakdowns in coverage? Were there a couple goals that you maybe like to see your goaltender come up with? Yes, yes, those things are true. But I also saw a first line that was completely dominant. I saw a first line with Ryan Green and Connor Bedard, two very young players with Andrei Burakovsky. Happy to have Berkey back. I thought Connor Bedard and Ryan Green were everywhere tonight. I thought they were so noticeable. Bedard doesn't get a point tonight, but man, was that kid creating every time he had the puck. And I thought Ryan Green was so effective. And before Ryan Green scores, there were people saying, oh, Ryan Green can't score, and like, why is he on the first line? And it's because of all the little things that Ryan Green does. I feel like Ryan Green is one of the most pleasant surprise of the season thus far. I mean, the amount of ways he can help the team, like in his own end, going into the corners and helping defensemen win puck battles, and then being that short little cutoff outlet pass to help them out on the breakout. He's so good at those neutral zone, like cross ice passes. Bedard's always looking for the puck in the neutral zone. It feels like Ryan Green connects with him every time he tries to. I thought Ryan Green had a strong game. I thought that first line as a whole looked really good tonight. But for me, the second line is kind of what's been a little bit of a letdown. I think something's clearly up with Frank Nazar right now. He did look better tonight. He looked faster. He looked more determined. He looked more assertive tonight. But you can tell he's just, I mean, we saw it at the start of the year. He was playing at a level that was so unbelievable. We know he can play at that level. He just hasn't been as of late. And I don't know whether that's an injury or if it's a mental thing, if he's just like, a little down on himself, lacking confidence. I don't know what it is, but I think that has been the biggest source of a struggle, I guess, for the Blackhawks, is because at the start of the year, you had Bedard on that first line, just like, we've all seen what Connor Bedard's been doing this year. He's been unbelievable, unstoppable, creating all the time, driving play, carrying the puck up, driving play. And then you had Frank Nazar on the second line doing the same thing, dragging Teravainen and Bertuzzi or Moore, whoever he's been playing with, into the fight every single night, driving play, creating when he carries the puck in the offensive zone, making good passes, getting in behind defenders. When was the last time we've seen Frank Nazar on a breakaway? It's been a few games. And so I think that's seriously what's hurt this team the most as of late. And it's not because Frank Nazar has been particularly bad. It was just when you had that 1-2 punch of the Bedard line and then the Nazar line, and you got to keep track of both, and both are attacking you shift after shift. Now when it's just one line, it's easier to deal with. And that's kind of been the case here for the Hawks, it feels like. It feels like teams kind of just have to be worried about that Bedard line right now. And yeah, you're not getting some of the bounces you've been getting. You're not getting some of the, like, how many games in a row are we hitting these posts, and tonight, the officiating was better. I don't have any problem with that call on Rinzel in the third. It was not Sam Rinzel's best game, although he did get an assist tonight. I want to say it was the second Nashville goal where Forsberg and I want to say it was Forsberg and O'Reilly. They kind of just played keep away around Sam Rinzel as they entered the zone, treated him like a traffic cone, like he wasn't even there. And then, he takes that penalty with 3.5 minutes left in the game or whatever it was. Not Rinzel's night. You're going to have these growing pain nights. You're going to have these nights that are disappointing. Could this team maybe make a push for the playoffs or be around the bubble? Yeah, I think they could end the season somewhat close to the wild card spot, but it's not my expectations, and it's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for progression. I'm looking for development, and tonight's not the end of the world. Do you win the game tonight if Spencer Knight's in net? Possibly. I don't think Soderblom was particularly terrible, but there's a couple saves that you'd like for him to come up with. But still, I want the overarching theme of this post game to be we're not sounding alarm bells, right? We're not crying for help yet. There's still 60 games left in the season. This is nothing like. Don't tell me this is like last year. Don't tell me, same old. Don't say that to me, all right? Because I watched every single game last year, and this team could not outshoot anyone. Like these games, I know the Blackhawks have lost 5 in a row, but don't say last year, because last year you would get outshot 40-20 and you would get battered. All right, this game was nothing like last year, right? They outshot these guys. They were the better team through much of the game, and so it's just nothing like last year. The team is competitive. You feel like the team's gonna win. That didn't exist last year, and so that's improvement. That's what I wanted to see. And so, not freaking out. Stay the course. This team's going to pick up a win. Game on Sunday against Anaheim, matinee. I think it's a 2:30 start. I'm going to be streaming. Make sure you're on the live stream. Streams have been fun. They've been getting a little toxic. People have been freaking out a little bit. I understand people are reactionary and you don't like to see your team lose 5 in a row. The Chicago Blackhawks are going to be just fine. We're going to be just fine, and so are you. So take care. I will see you on Sunday. Go Blackhawks. Stay the course. Don't freak out. I'll see you later. Have a good night.